Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to look at Envision's 12-5, fractions greater than 1 on a number line. But before we do that, in the previous lesson, we learned that you can use a number line to show fractions less than 1. Remember, you start at the 0 and end at the 1. This shows that this line represents one whole. So what would I do if I wanted to represent 3/4? Well, my bottom number or denominator tells me how many parts I should have, how many equal parts I should have. So this is a 4. So I should break my line into fourths equally. Let's start there and split it first into halves, then fourths. Okay. And I can label my number line 1/4, 2/4 or 1/2, 3/4. And then when it's one whole, you'll see that the numerator and the denominator are the same. So 4/4. The numerator is a 3. That means I am only looking at 3 parts of this whole. So 1, 2, 3. So right here would be 3/4. Okay. So what happens when we need to show a fraction greater than 1 whole? Let's take a look. I see that the fraction 6/4 has a numerator that is bigger than the denominator. That lets me know that my fraction is going to go past 1 whole. So when I look at my number line, there we go. When I look at my number line, I can also see that the line goes past 1 whole. I can see from 0 to 1 is a whole, and from 1 to 2 is another whole. So this line actually represents 2 wholes. How do I partition it to show 6/4? Well, I know that the denominator shows how many equal parts each whole should have. And I see that the denominator is a 4. So I am going to partition or split this line from 0 to 1, which is 1 whole, into fourths. So I'm going to start, when I make fourths, I'm going to start by making a half. And then from the 0 to this tick mark, I'm going to make another line in the middle of those equally, and the same here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal spaces. Okay, and I can go ahead and I can label those. So this first tick mark, which will represent your numerator, is 1/4. This one would be 2/4. 3/4. The 1 whole would represent 4/4 because I split my whole line into fourths, and this is the 4th tick mark. Okay, so I did not get to 6/4, only using 1 whole. So I am going to have to go beyond the 1 whole. I will have to partition my line now from the 1 to the 2. And how do I do that? Well, I'm going to have to use the denominator again, the same 1 as the fraction that I want to find. So the denominator is a 4. So from 1 to 2, I am going to split this line into fourths again. So I'm going to start in the middle, split it into half, and then I'm going to go ahead and split that again, and that. So how do I label my number line when it goes past 1 whole? Well, I stopped at 4/4 because when your numerator and your denominator are the same, that means that they have equaled 1 whole. So I'm going to go beyond 4/4. The first question I need to ask myself is, what is my denominator? Well, my denominator never changed. I partitioned from the 1 to the 2 into 4 equal spaces. So my denominator is still going to be a 4. However, my numerator is counting the unit fractions. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 5/4 because it's the 5th unit fraction of this line. This one would be 6/4. What do you think this one would be? That's right, 7/4. And if you wanted to go ahead and you could label the 2, that would make 8/4. So 2 wholes, otherwise known as 8/4. But we were looking for 6/4, and here it is. There we go. It went beyond the whole. Okay. So let's try another one. How can I represent 5/3 on the number line? Well, you can see I do not have a number line for us. So let's think about 5/3. The numerator is a 5 and the denominator is a 3. That clues me in on something. It lets me know that my fraction is going to go beyond 1 whole on the number line. So what I am going to do now is I am going to draw as straight as I can my number line. And we always start at 0 because we have not partitioned anything yet. So there's a 0. And since I know I'm going to go past 1 whole, I am not going to end my number line at 1. I'm actually going to put the 1 as close to the middle as I can. Oops. Sorry, my 1. And this will represent my 2. Okay. So now that I have 1 whole and another hole, I have 2 holes on here, I can start to partition my number line. Well, I use my denominator to partition, and my denominator is a 3. So I know that I have to partition my number line from 0 to 1 in thirds. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. So I have 1, 2, 3 spaces, equal spaces. So I partitioned it into thirds. And when I label my unit fractions, this is the first one, so it's 1/3. Here is 2/3. And this one would represent 3/3. I did not get to 5/3 yet. So that tells me from 1 to 2, I am going to have to partition this line also into thirds. So I'm breaking this line up into thirds. So there I go. I'm going to go and break it into thirds. I have 1, 2, 3 equal spaces. So I broke it into thirds. Now I'm going to go ahead and with my numerator, I can continue. So if this was 3/3, we have 4/3. And what would this one be? You got it. 5/3. And if you wanted to, you could even label 2 wholes as 6/3. Way to go, guys. All right. So let's practice filling in the blanks. So I have this number line. I can see that it starts with a 0 and it ends at a 2. So I know that this is not one whole number line, but it is actually 2 number lines put together. I have from 0 to 1. That's a whole. And I have from 1 to 2 is my second whole. So the first thing I want to ask myself is, what was this number line broken into? What is the denominator? So, from 0 to 1, how many spaces do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know that my denominator is 8. And you can see down below, it even gives you that hint. When I look from 1 to 2, I can also see that it was broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as well. So from 1 to 2, I have this line broken into eighths. And you can also see down here, they give you that clue. So my question is, how are we going to fill in the blanks? Well, I have a lot of clues on this page to help me. I know that when I use my numerator, I just go ahead and copy the unit fraction. So I know if this is at 3/8, then the next fraction would be 4/8. When I go to the next one, I see another blank. I see that this is 10/8. So what would go right in front or right to the left of 10/8? That's right, 9/8. Good job, guys. And then I have one right here, 13/8 blank, 15/8. What would go in the middle of these two fractions? You guys rock. 14/8. Good job. So now you know how to label fractions on a number line that is greater than 1. All right. So in your packet, you are going to see a workbook page for 12/5, number line fractions greater than 1. You will get another example right here where it says another look. It says a point on a number line can be named using a fraction. In the fraction below, the denominator shows the number of equal lengths that are between 0 and 1. And the numerator shows the number of copies of the unit fraction. So you know that from 0 to 1, it was broken into 1, 2, 3, 4. It was broken into fourths. So 1/4, but when you copy it, you have 2 of those 1/4 pieces. 3/4. You can always label this 4/4, but to go beyond it, you are again breaking the line up into fourths. So from 1 to 2, that's a whole nother whole or line. So there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. They broke it into fourths, but they kept going. So that's 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, and then they got to 2 wholes, okay, or 8/4. On this page, you are to write in the missing fractions. So just like before, where we filled in the blanks, you're going to have to fill in the blanks. Remember, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what did they break my line up into from 0 to 1? Figure out your denominator, and yes, you will have clues in some of the problems. Okay, once you figure that out, then you can start filling in the blanks. Look at number 3. You have from 0 to 1 is 1 whole. 1 to 2 is representing 2 wholes now. And from 2 to 3, so there's 3 wholes here. There is no clue as to what the denominator is. You have to figure out the denominator by counting the spaces between 0 and 1. So I see from 0 to 1, I see 1, 2 spaces. So guess what my denominator will be? What do you think if I have 2 spaces? My denominator will be a 2. Good job, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any questions, you can watch the video back, contact your teacher. Okay? Have a great day.